Check, check. Hope that's working. So let me check that audio. Check, check, check. Hope it's working. Let's just see. I can find out. So welcome. Just doing a short little catch up on. See, this video is. I don't know whether it's our internet, and my apologies if that's the case. But I've installed some new software, and let me see what it's doing. Just doing a short little catch up on. See, this video is. I don't know whether it's our internet, and my apologies if that's the case. But I've installed some new software, and let me see what it's doing. So we'll give it a shot. So it looks like I'm getting out. Hi. Connor's reports here. I don't know what's going on with this computer. I don't know if it's our the computer itself or the software, but it seems to be getting out. If it's really horrible, let me know. Our bandwidth could be overloaded. And I'm not on the new software, but something weird is going on. Apple did not want me to even install that new software. So, hi, Rosie. It's been a long time. Hope you can hear me. I got the microphone like right here. The YouTube has made it incredibly hard to live stream, and that's probably what we're experiencing right now. But I'm even watching the video on this monitor, and it seems to be stalling. So I hope you guys can. If you can't, let me know. And we're in the midst of trying to improve our capabilities here. So at any rate, I just wanted to catch you up on some of the. It's been just a heck of a week, obviously, and I think it's probably been a little longer than that. We have Epstein being either committing suicide or being murdered in federal custody. Crazy. A so-called investigation to get to the bottom of that. We saw an FBI raid at Epstein Island about a month late, in my opinion, and a few other people's opinion. And now we're finding out that apparently the ranch, the Zorro Ranch in New Mexico, is occupied by somebody right now. It hasn't apparently been seized. It hasn't been cordoned off. I'm not sure if it's been searched. I think it may have been searched, and I think that the New Mexico state authorities did that. But the fact that they are not seized is just ridiculous. So we have a lot of things up in the air. We've also got some information that has been coming to light on Twitter about possibly a house in Venezuela. That's totally under the radar. And we've got some people doing some digging on that one. And actually, Jack, I don't know if Jack's here or not, but Jack found a flight log where Epstein is with the president of Colombia, and it shows a stop in Venezuela. So we're trying to go over the flight logs again and determine how many times he's been to Venezuela. Some of these, and what it sounds like. This individual who's you can read the Medium. You can go to I'll probably put the link in the show notes. Somebody is leaking information to a news source in London, and what they did is they wrote a story about this information, just not using names. And I mean, you can figure the names out. There's a dictator in this story that's Hugo Chavez, and now Maduro. there's an A-list Hollywood person. Could be Sean Penn. Looks like it's Sean Penn. Sean Penn spent an awful lot of time down there with Chavez, and a bunch of Naomi Campbell was down there. A bunch of Hollywood A-list people. And what were they doing in Venezuela? Were they did they really care? About that country. So there are some things coming together, and we know. And the other big thing is that Epstein is obviously linked to intelligence, whether it's intelligence organizations in this country, which it probably is. The Mossad has been mentioned. MI6, Maxwell, as a lot of you probably know, her father was in the Mossad and was murdered, suicided way back when. Oh yeah, not to mention that Ghislaine Maxwell is, where is she? And I think the most troubling part of this, and I hope you guys, if you're on Twitter, you're on Facebook, talk about this. Tag the Justice Department, tag the FBI in your tweets. Has the ranch in New Mexico been raided? Has it been seized? But that's the most troubling part, that the Southern District has not even made a statement on the raid, on the other properties. They did make a statement talking about, hey, Jack, there he is, Jack. Jack got the one piece of solid information that we have, that Epstein was in Venezuela. It's one of the flight logs, and I just haven't had a chance. I've been trying to go over the documents that have been released. There's a lot of documents out there. Obviously, we've got the flight logs, and I have to go back over those with a fine-tooth comb. And I'm thinking, it's entirely possible that because those flight logs are incomplete, and it's entirely possible that the trips to Venezuela have been redacted. But there is somebody, and according to that story, and just you can find it on our Twitter line. Dr. Danielle Blumenthal put that information out, and there's a Twitter account. It's called HMMMM. You can find them. They're a Hollywood type news organization, but they put that information out, and it looks like somebody wants it out, and it sounds absolutely right. Yeah, and that In-N-Out Burger thing, that's coming apart. They went. Some of those pictures look like they're photoshopped. There was a banner for a current movie that the banner company says was not on that banner. So what that looks like to me is a deep state attempt to make it look like Maxwell's just out and about. And I don't think she's in LA. And if she is, and if she's walking around in public, she's crazy. She's crazy. She knows what happened to Epstein. And I personally think he was murdered. That was these organizations generally take the path of least resistance, and it would be an awful lot of work to have him extricated, to have the fire department respond to the jail, to work that arrest. There's an awful lot involved when it was very easy. And Epstein was expendable from day one. We know that. And there's a lot of disinformation out there. There's a lot of people, getting into this. It's basically a hamster wheel. What happened to Epstein? Who did it? Why did they do it? It doesn't matter. I mean, he's not a defendant. That's all that's important. And I hope you guys, and I trust you guys, are putting your efforts into holding the Justice Department accountable. Why did it take a month to raid Epstein Island? What's going on with the house in New Mexico? He has other houses. There's a house in Paris. And again, just start asking questions about Venezuela, because it looks like he's been there, according to at least one flight log. I'm sure there's more. Sean Penn was down there a lot, and also in Haiti. Yep, 6 other pilots. Yeah, and the pilots are being have been subpoenaed, from what I understand, Jack. And you know, yeah, these federal or investigations move slow. Now they've had to shift the focus because their defendant is dead. You know, so it may take them a while to get the rest of them indicted. But that's the only route that we have left. You know, we have to push and shove the Justice Department and the Southern District to do the right thing. And I'm really just not happy with them just to put not to put a statement out, you know, which is ridiculous because you know, we know there are victims still out there that haven't come forward, that are thinking about coming forward. They know Epstein's dead, you know, whether it was suicide or murder or whatever it was. And it's up to the prosecutors to reassure these victims, you know, that it's safe to come in and that they'll be protected, you know. And as far as we know, you know, none of the witnesses have been harmed, so that's their case. I'm sure they used the witnesses to get Epstein indicted. So use the same witnesses to indict Maxwell, to indict Bill Clinton, to indict Alan Dershowitz. You know, they're all accused in sworn testimony and depositions of raping these kids. So it's time to get moving on that and do a real investigation, and then it'll be up to us. I mean, if we're not going to hold them accountable, who is? You know, and I really think at the end of the day, it will. You know, there's enough momentum now that it's going to have to be. It's going to have to come out, and the victims, I don't think, are going to be shut up at this point. They've got excellent attorneys. They're not going to go away. So a lot of good things. God, I look like hell. I've been running around this morning looking at you know, a lot of stuff going on. So anyway, I just wanted to, you know, update you guys, let you know we're still searching. There's a couple of people I trust, you know, a whole bunch. Fitzhenry, who's, you know, looking into the Hollywood connection to Venezuela and to Epstein for that matter. And we've got a couple other people that are looking into, you know, what's going on, trying to get information. There's an excellent, let me see if I can, I want to direct you towards her. Yeah, it was really weird. I tried to do a promo on Facebook too. That just was not happening. So I don't know whether it's our internet or what, but I wanted to get this. And this is what we need to start talking about too, because the whole organization, Epstein was just a part of it, and it's been going for decades. And there's an investigative journalist that's on Twitter. She works for an outfit called Mint Press, and she actually lives in Chile. And I've actually reached out to her to see if she can get any, you know, maybe in South America, information about Venezuela would be, you know, easier to get than we get. But I just want to get her name for you and tell you to follow her on Twitter. Let's see about that. It just seems all social media is getting much harder to use, and I think that we know that what's coming out about Google. Even one of Hillary's old buddies, God, I forget his name, but I'm sure you saw the tweets. She went after him about the information that he put out about Google, you know, fixing the elections, and so yeah, Whitney Webb is her name, and she's @_ Whitney WHITNEY Webb, and she did just an incredible series of articles on that whole organization. You know, we call it the Epstein organization, but it's not the Epstein organization. It's much bigger. This goes back to Meyer Lansky. If you don't know who he is, he was a gangster that you know, primarily was in the finance end of you know, organized crime, and people like Roy Cohn. And she shows the link, you know, right up through the Bronfmans, who are Nexium, and right up through Epstein. So this is a huge criminal conspiracy that's been going on for decades. If they bring it down, you know, governments could fall, and I don't know if they're willing to let that happen. I don't know, but you know, it needs to. Strand of the spider web, absolutely. He was expendable. He was a pimp, you know. Basically, they made him. They handpicked him. You know, he was a pedophile from day one at Dalton College, and real troubling stuff. The Attorney General's dad was the one that got him into Dalton College. So there's a lot of really troubling connections between people that are in there now, between Barr, and even Donald Trump. He needs to address some of this stuff. I mean, he was and the one thing that I have to say, it doesn't seem like he's been directly involved in any of the child rape, but he's had some very slippery connections, and Roy Cohn being one of them. He was a pimp that was involved in an attorney, a lawyer, Roger Stone. Roy Cohn gave hundreds of trafficked boys AIDS. He ran a call boy ring, for lack of a better word. I'm sure you've seen that headline in the Washington Times. It's a lot going on. So keep your Red Cross. Yeah, there's the Red Cross. I mean, this is a global, multi-layered conspiracy, and it's just using our children as fodder, and it's just totally unacceptable. And if we don't stand up and be heard, the Justice Department isn't going to do it for us. No president is powerful enough to take this on by themselves. It's going to take every last one of the American people to get behind them. And I know for a fact, if Trump hadn't been elected, none of this going on. And I give him credit, but he's got some stuff that he needs to address too. And one of them would be having Roy Cohn as a mentor. And I guess it's possible he didn't know what he was doing. That is possible. But there's a lot of really troubling connections. So read Whitney's work. We've yet to get an official investigation confirmed with EMS in the U.S. Virgin Islands. I'll be working on that in the next few days. And we're just trying to get you guys our eyes and ears and resources, And I have a feeling that whoever leaked that information about Venezuela and the house down there, and according to if you haven't read the story, the story is they were using that house down there for at least child trafficking purposes, but Epstein wanted to create a race of people with his DNA, and that was going on in New Mexico. There's another person on Twitter that I can't remember, Tamara is her name, that has unearthed everything that was going on out and that was that New Mexico ranch. That was kind of what was going on out there. Genetic experiments, God knows what. I mean, it's so horrible. You can barely get your head around, what's been going on right under our noses. So, but we'll be looking into Venezuela. We've got other people looking into that, and I have the feeling that whoever is leaking that information is going to get some proof out there that was taking place, because this guy's supposedly but. Getting back to that story, according to the story, there was a safe kept in that house in Venezuela that had the blackmail material on everybody. And while Epstein and Maxwell were out dodging, the Justice Department, somebody, I would think the guy that's down there now, Maduro, broke into that house and took that safe out of a concrete, whatever you would call it. It was attached by concrete, and that was gone. And apparently all that blackmail information is in the hands of Maduro. And maybe that's why he's still there, because we've been trying to take him out for months, And when the deep state goes after a foreign government, they usually go down. And they did some, they put their power out. They did a lot of, psyop type things. They got that other guy to go in and, take his place, but he's still there. And I have to wonder if that's why, one of the reasons that he's got that, the videotapes and proof of these children being raped by world leaders. God knows who they are. So that's where, eugenics. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's Planned Parenthood. People don't realize. Margaret Sanger, Hitler. That's what they were doing way back when. They've been doing it for a long time, and it's under the guise of women's health, and all it is a meat grinder for kids. So a lot going on. Keep your ears to the earth, and text us, tweet us, message us, email us with any information you get. But right now, I think the big story, because if that can be proved, what was alleged to have been going on, and baby Epstein's, racist pedophiles, great. That's just what the world needs, and that's what he was working on, I'm sure. And being helped by the top scientists with the Harvard, the cream of the crop at Harvard, Alan Dershowitz, this is what these people were doing. So, and what I think, that's why I've, kind of locked onto the Venezuela thing, that will directly tie an intelligence service with raping kids, Epstein, and with trying to overthrow a foreign government. So that's bigger than Bill Clinton. I mean, they can arrest Bill Clinton, put him away for raping, the children that he raped. But if that story and everybody involved in that goes down, the whole, house of cards comes down. So it's the stakes are very high, and it's just up to every individual American to learn as much as you can, and to hold their feet to the fire. So I think that's it. If you have any other questions, I don't always get this chat to play back, but you can email us directly at trafficreport911 at Gmail. And on 9/11, good news on that. My local representative here in Virginia is going to be meeting with myself and representatives from Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth in Washington, D.C. on 9/11, this 9/11. Go on Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. Go on their website. You can do that too. You can ask your local representative to attend. They're having an event all day. They can attend it there. Architects and engineers have people that will, and what they're trying to do is get legislation passed that will create a real commission to look in, because they've already formed, the firefighters in New York have formed a body to investigate the explosives that were in the building, which makes it an inside job on 9/11. So a lot of good stuff happening. So, get out there and don't waste your time with, who killed Epstein, why he was killed. Is he in Israel sipping on a pina colada? It doesn't matter. He's not a defendant. So please put your energy. 9/11. So I'll be in Washington. I was very surprised. I kind of know our local rep. He's a real good guy, Morgan Griffith, Republican congressman from Virginia. So we'll be meeting with his legislative assistant to pass this legislation, which will create a commission that will not whitewash it like the 9/11 commission did, but investigate who put those explosives in those buildings. So it's coming around. A lot of great things are happening. Check out Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. You just fill out a request. I mean, that's what I did, a meeting request, and they got back to me really quick. Yours may or may not do that. But there's going to be a big event in DC on 9/11, sponsored by Architects and Engineers. There's 3,000 of them now. These are certified architects and engineers in the United States that have been, basically telling us, and we knew, firefighters knew the day that happened. But there's a lot of firefighters involved with that organization, and they're telling us that that was an inside job. Those buildings were demolished. So a lot of good stuff happening. Stay in touch. We'll answer your questions if you can put them in the comments. I do get to check the comments, or email them to us, or tweet them at us, or whatever you want to do. So thank you all. You are the reason we do this, and we couldn't do it without you. I've downloaded some software. I don't know how that's gonna go, but we're trying to get our capability, since YouTube took it away, to have Howie on live, and you'd actually see him. That would be nice, and and other guests. So I actually did download that today. It's gonna take some doing to get that working, hopefully. So hopefully we'll be getting back that capability back and having some shows a little bit more regularly. And thanks to everybody that keeps track. Thanks to Jason. I mean, that the ambulance show, it's got something like 30 between two channels, 35,000 views. I don't even know what it's got on Periscope, but a lot of people got that information, and it's valuable. That wasn't about the ambulance. It was about the corruption that was going on in the U.S. Virgin Islands. That's another investigation that needs to be done. Was the governor in on that? We know their representative in USVI took eight grand from Epstein. Stacy Platt. Squeaky wheel gets the grease, I'm told. So thanks for joining me this afternoon. Corey, how are you? I sure do, Corey. I'll let you know that right now. And it was weird. I downloaded that software, and then the Facebook Live isn't working. This YouTube thing is looking like it's stalling for some reason. I don't know, but we'll get it. And Corey, Phoenix Enigma, is doing is the only one that's done a real investigation on the death of Isaac Cappy. Go over and subscribe to his channel. I was happy to get in touch with him, and I might be over there, just me and Corey, just shooting the shooting the shit, and about important stuff. He's done some great work. He got the body camera footage. And there was a lot of dark forces swirling around Isaac Cappy. We had him on the show, just a sweetheart of a guy, but I think he just wasn't equipped for the people he was going to have to deal with. So he's not with us anymore. And there's only one person that I know that's investigating it, and that's Corey. And so we're forming networks, and this is the only way that this thing is ever going to turn around if we and social media is fighting it. It's getting harder to live stream. It's getting harder to tweet, harder to the Google owns YouTube. Google owns Twitter now, and they're just tightening the band. So, but we're not ones to give up. And so yeah, Corey, I'll hopefully I'd love to come on with you, because you're a man after my own heart. Very, very spiritual guy, very real, person, and serious as a heart attack. And I'm serious about this, So thank you, everybody. Keep your ears to the ground, and we need to hold our government accountable. This is a child rape machine that has been functioning for decades, and this is as close as we've come to ever revealing it and getting it dismantled. And if we don't dismantle it, we don't have a country. All the other things become secondary, because it really doesn't matter. If we allow these forces to rape and kill our children, we don't deserve the freedoms of our Constitution, in my opinion. So stay in touch. I'll be in touch. Go over and subscribe to the Phoenix Enigma, and follow up on Isaac Cappy. It was a death of a very gentle soul that all he was doing was trying to light into some very dark places, that being Hollywood. And now we're seeing it all coming together. We've got all these Hollywood people down in Venezuela, this supposed house down there, Sean Penn in Haiti. We know what the Clinton Foundation was doing in Haiti. They were trafficking kids. So we got a lot of good questions, and if we don't hold them accountable, nobody else will. And that includes the Justice Department, FBI, the President of the United States. We're the citizens. So we've made some good ground, but it's no time to rest. So we'll keep at it. And thank you guys. And we'll be back soon. I made it a whole 30 minutes. So I'll be in touch, Corey. I'll holler at you, and hopefully we can do a little thing over there about Isaac and what's going on with that, because that that may never be solved, but we need to get that information out. There was some very dark forces that were directed against Isaac. So thank you guys. Love you all. Stay in contact. We're around. We're not going anywhere. And hopefully, maybe with Corey's assistance, I'll get some decent live streaming software and overcome Google's attempt to make it harder for me to to have guests and to share screens and stuff like that. So stay in touch. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.